Welcome to the Explainer. You know that moment when you hit play on Netflix and, like magic, your show just starts? Well, today we're going to peek behind the curtain and see the absolutely massive global engine that makes it all happen. Seriously, it feels instant, doesn't it? But in those 2 seconds before the opening credits even roll, your request has zipped across the globe and back again. We're going to trace that entire journey and break down the incredibly complex system that powers your binge watch. So, at the very heart of how Netflix works is this core idea, a dual plane architecture. The easiest way to think about it is separating the thinking from all the heavy lifting. You've got the brain on one side, handling all the smarts, and the brawn on the other, doing all the muscle work. And this separation it's absolutely crucial, because each part has a totally different job. The brain, which runs on Amazon Web Services, is all about being fast and agile. It handles your account, your search results, and of course, all that personalization. Meanwhile, the brawn, that's Netflix's own custom network called OpenConnect, is just relentlessly optimized for one thing and one thing only, getting those massive video files to you perfectly. Okay, so let's actually follow your click through the whole system. It's a journey with about 5 key stages, kicking off with personalization, then moving to delivery and playback, and finally, closing with a feedback loop that actually makes the whole system smarter for the next time you log in. Right, so the first leg of that journey all happens inside the brain. This is where all the magic happens before you even press play. It's what crafts that unique homepage that's built just for you. Every single request, and we're talking millions of them happening at the same time, from phones, TVs, laptops, you name it, they all have to enter through this one single front door. It's called the API gateway. You can think of it like a bouncer at a massive club, checking your ID and then directing your request to exactly the right place among thousands of tiny, specialized services inside. Now, here's where it gets kind of wild. Netflix doesn't just prepare for things to go wrong, they actively expect them to. At their scale, something is always breaking somewhere. So they built their entire ecosystem with the idea that it should not only survive, but actually thrive in the middle of chaos. So how do you stop one little problem from causing a total system meltdown? Well, they use this really clever pattern called a circuit breaker. If one of those thousands of little services starts to fail, the circuit breaker trips, instantly isolating it from everything else. This stops the problem from cascading and taking the whole site down. And they take this whole idea to the absolute extreme with their famous Chaos Monkey. This thing is literally a program that runs around their live system, intentionally and randomly shutting parts of it down. It's like a constant surprise fire drill that forces their engineers to build systems that are truly, deeply resilient. Of course, the brain also has to figure out what you might want to watch. It uses what's called a recommendation funnel to do this. The first stage pulls in thousands of titles that might be a good fit, and then the second stage uses some really sophisticated deep learning to rank them precisely, creating that personalized row of shows you see on your screen. And the personalization gets unbelievably specific. Get this, it even comes down to the artwork for a show. There's an algorithm constantly running A/B tests on different thumbnails to figure out which one you, specifically, are most likely to click. So the picture you see for a show could be totally different from the one your friend sees for the exact same show. Okay, so the brain has done its thing. You've seen the perfect thumbnail, you've clicked play. Now, the baton gets passed to the brawn, which is going to take over the seriously heavy lifting of getting that video to your screen. The very first step is what they call intelligent encoding. They take this massive, pristine master file from the studio and they convert it into hundreds of different versions. An action movie with tons of quick cuts gets a completely different encoding recipe than, say, a slow-moving cartoon. It's all about maximizing the quality for whatever your internet connection looks like. You see, the old way of doing this involved just a few gigantic centralized data centers. And that meant a movie file might have to travel thousands of miles across the internet just to get to your house, which, as you can imagine, leads to all sorts of lag and buffering. But Netflix looked at that and said, nope, we can do better. So they built their own global delivery network, and they call it OpenConnect. Instead of a few central hubs, they have thousands of smaller servers that they place directly inside your local internet provider's network. That means the show you want to watch is probably stored just a few miles from your house, not a whole continent away. But the journey's not over once the video starts playing. In fact, the video player itself, on your TV, your laptop, your phone, is a really intelligent and active part of the whole system.
To avoid that dreaded buffering screen, your player is constantly making decisions in real time. It's watching your internet speed, it's watching how much video it has saved up. If that buffer gets a little low, it'll seamlessly switch to a slightly lower quality piece of video just to keep the show playing smoothly. It's even smart enough to start preloading the next episode while the credits are rolling on the current one. And this is how the whole loop closes and the system actually gets smarter. Your player is constantly sending little bits of performance data, like if it had to buffer or what video quality it was playing, all the way back to the brain. This constant feedback is literally the lifeblood of the system, improving everything from future recommendations all the way back to how they encode the videos in the first place.
So, after that whirlwind tour through this entire incredible system, what are the big takeaways? What are the core lessons that we can learn from this amazing piece of architecture? Well, it really all boils down to about 5 core ideas. First, separate your fast-moving, agile parts from your stable, heavy lifting parts. 2, design for failure. Don't just try to avoid it. 3, let data drive every single decision you make. 4, own the critical path as close to your user as you possibly can. And finally, number 5, remember that the user's device, the edge, isn't just a dumb screen. It's an intelligent part of your system. This whole idea of a constant feedback loop, where every single thing a user does helps to refine and improve the system, that's the real engine behind Netflix. And it's such a powerful model for any system at scale. It kind of leaves you with one last thought. What if every app on your phone learned from every single tap and swipe you made? I mean, how much better could our entire digital world become?